And now, some quick thoughts from Man.
Well, you all know what time it is, unless you've decided to ban clocks from your life, in which case something's wrong with you. Clocks are fire. But no, it's time for some quick thoughts where I give initial impressions of shows and web series I've either missed or just didn't feel needed a whole general thoughts dedicated to it. Not to say they're bad, just something you clearly wouldn't need a whole video on it. Or maybe I'm just being lazy. You'll never know. But seriously, let's not waste any more time. Then again, you wouldn't know if we were since you hate clocks so much, you chronometrophobe. And get right into it. This is a pleasant little show with some decent humor to it. Not a gutbuster, but works as sort of something you can have on in the background. I got some decent laughs from some of the more unexpected jokes that happen in it. When they do a smidge of subversion, it gets a good chuckle from me. The characters are kind of fun and wacky, especially with a sort of nice upbeat attitude to them, so you won't get angry at their antics, it's just kind of pleasant. I like the aesthetic of the show being in that sort of storybook art style, like the old golden books. It gives it this soft, cozy feel to it. It's episodic, so maybe it's not something you want to binge, but the episodes do go by pretty fast with their pacing, so you wouldn't be hurt trying to get through it. It is one of the weaker series from DreamWorks, but not the worst series at all. Just a simple show with simple pleasures to it, and that's always fine. I honestly was skeptical at first of this, but seeing the final product actually got me on board to see this go somewhere. I do enjoy the craziness of the world and all the characters. It has a fun feel to it, even though it takes place in hell, the most miserable place imaginable. The concept is one I'm struggling getting on board with the main character Charlie with. Like, I honestly side more with the antagonist, the radio demon, more, mainly because, yeah, these sinners in hell had their chance on Earth. But that doesn't mean I couldn't be persuaded over to Charlie's side if she actually is a bit more endearing with her messaging and such. It's something that I really think a full series probably could take better advantage of. I will say they might need to refine the effect they have on the radio demon's voice a bit. It can come off as distracting, especially at times when it kind of turns off at points. It's kind of weird. Maybe just bring it down some so it's not overtaking the character's voice. That probably could help there. I really like Angel Dust and how much of a degenerate he is. His off-kilter attitude is just too much fun. And the overall zaniness of the world is just a fun watch, especially with how violent things could be. I kind of like that they're really playing up the idea, this is hell. This is not a place you kind of want to be, but at the same time, it's a place you want to see, like it's trash TV, like reality TV show stars and stuff. I will admit there are some areas that could use some work, but they're not something to completely write the idea off for. At the end of the day, it's still just a pilot, not a full series and one made by an independent team without a big budget put behind it. So to try to get so worked up thinking it's the worst thing imaginable, just know it's just a pilot. There are going to be a few kinks here and there. They refine it more when it becomes an actual series. The songs, I'm gonna be honest, sound too much like Diet Disney. It's not that they're horrible, they just feel a little too much like that Disney style we've heard before in the Disney Renaissance. Now, that's sort of a personal thing for me. I can't listen to something that feels like imitation of something I've heard before. Now, if it's a homage to a more older style, I can get down with that. A few other things is the pacing and editing. Now, it's just the pilot, so the pace could be fixed by shortening episode runtime, so that's pretty easy right there. The editing, though, does need to be brought down a bit. There are times where you get an in-between shot and only lasts less than a second and feels out of place, like you didn't need that, or you should have held on to it for a few seconds longer. Like for some instances where it cuts on super expressive motion that could have been held on for just a millisecond longer. But overall, it is a good concept that I would like to see come to full fruition with a series. And before all y'all come at me about Vivziepop, I'll tell you now, I don't care. What you're mad at her for is very small and didn't result in anyone physically getting hurt or even psychologically hurt to the point they couldn't function in society or just plain traumatization. The stuff being said about her are all false and have been proven false on multiple occasions, including the stupid racist and transphobic ones. Like, come on, people. The people trying to bring her down are just mad she got stuff done and they sadly haven't and possibly won't. I would urge those people that keep spreading misconceptions about her to please get a life and move on. You don't have to like Hazbin Hotel, but you really need to stop faking excuses to not like it. Just simply say it's not your thing and move on. Like, Jesus. Look, I'ma keep it 100 with y'all. This is not for me, Chief. I wasn't outside for the Care Bears. Yes, I stole your joke, Tariq. What you doing about it? I already wasn't a fan of Care Bears to begin with, so this definitely wasn't likely to sway me, and I was right. It really is too safe for its own good. But then again, it's Care Bears, so that's to be expected. The characters just act too sickeningly sweet and innocent that it's just boring to watch. It's not downright terrible. There's nothing in it that would full on piss you off or any bad morals in it. It'd be a shock if there was, but it's definitely not something worth putting time into. If you like Care Bears, this should be just fine for you, but for anyone else, this series could get stuffed. A show that I keep constantly hearing over and over again. It's the Cleveland Show. It's Planet Sheen. It's all that dumb stuff. And it's so annoying to hear this for such a harmless series. For one thing, Planet Sheen failed because it was putting a spastic supporting character in the lead when they only work in small doses. And Cleveland Show failed because it was putting a boring character in the lead and forcing them to be interesting, as well as many other problems with those shows. Mainly being they were terrible. But Casagrandes works because the characters are actually kind of fun. I mean, sure, did we need a Loud House spinoff series? No, but what we got is kind of nice and honestly a little better than Loud House right now. Yeah, I said it. The characters and to a degree situations are more down to earth and don't try to split the difference between wacky, unrealistic cartooniness and simple slice of life. The sillier aspects feel more like a sitcom, which I think works better for them, especially when they want to be real about something. I find myself more at home with the characters because they don't come off as one note like the Loud family. And like I said in my character design video, Ronnie Ann is more interesting because she's written more as a kid rather than as an everyman. When she tackles a situation, she does so in the way that feels unique to her, whereas Lincoln tackles things in a way we're supposed to imagine ourselves in the situation. But he goes about it in a way where we lose relatability because we wouldn't approach it in that manner. It doesn't help that the situations seem too fake in Loud House, but here they feel like real things people have gone through. Sure, they're told in a more sillier manner, but it's like when someone tells you something about what happened to them. Of course, some exaggerations happen because otherwise you get bored. The setting of the big city adds more possibilities for the characters and has more of a lively feel. The friendship between Ronnie Ann and Sid is actually pretty good because they don't feel like carbon copies of each other. They actually feel like genuine friends, and they're just fun together. They actually make a good duo. I also love how energetic Sid can be. She's just so fun with how crazy and odd she can be. It just kind of reminds me of some of those early sitcoms we've had back in the day where they had the best friend. It just kind of works well in that vein. The family themselves need more episodes, but for what we've seen, they come off as a good family that feels more realistic. I actually get a good laugh from their interactions, so that's something to appreciate with this series. Just a more authentic side to it with some silliness in the mix. The episodes are done in a way that they have a nice charm to them. You can kind of sit back and relax with it. Is it groundbreaking? No. But it's not trying to be, and it doesn't need to be. It's just a fun little show with fun, enjoyable characters and nothing more. And that's sometimes all you need. Just something that's just fun to sit back and watch. Okay, this almost deterred me when I saw the characters on the poster, because it looked pretty bootleg. I mean, these characters look kind of disgusting. But seeing it in motion quickly subsided my fears. It's kind of something like King of the Hill with how the characters move. That and other characters sort of act a little bit like people from King of the Hill, but in a more lighthearted way. It's not done in the way of conservative versus the world, just more a family trying to get by. I like how they have the daughter, Violet, wanting to be an artist, and the whole family completely supports her, including the mother's boyfriend. Speaking of which, I like how they did the boyfriend with him wanting to just do right by the family. I mean, sure, he's a dunce, but he does care about everyone and tries to go above and beyond for them. Sure, his ideas backfire a lot, and it's very funny when they do. Like, seriously, it's hilarious. But it's the heart that counts.
I get it.
The whole angle of the family not being that well off gives a good sense of humbleness to them, with their want to get out of their financial pit, but not while hurting themselves or others. It's all done in a more heartfelt way that doesn't come off as cynical like other Fox adult series. It just feels right with how everything happens and feels like something just different from what we normally get from Fox animation. I'd say it is definitely worth a watch if you like a more genuine and humble adult series. And that's the end. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment about any of the shows I mentioned, and make sweet love to that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, join the Discord and consider donating to my Patreon for only $1. And always remember, it's just a thought.